Empathy. Once upon a time, in the quaint little town of Lumberland, there was a bar, the Leaning Lantern. It was run by a wise and patient barmaid named Maggie. She wasn't just known for her exceptional ale pouring skills or her famed cherry pie, but also for her keen sense of understanding and empathy that warmed the hearts of many. One rainy evening, when the wind rattled the shutters and lightning splattered the sky, in walked Thomas. He was a burly man with calloused hands and eyes that held tales of years working at the lumber mill. He frequented the Leaning Lantern, but tonight he seemed wearier than usual. Maggie poured him his usual frothy mug of stout without a word, and she slid it across the counter to him. Rough day at work? Thomas nodded without looking up from his drink, his brows furrowed heavily. Maggie knew better than to push him further. Instead, she began telling him a story. "Have you ever heard about old Ben?" she began. "He used to be a regular here." Thomas looked up, slightly curious now. Maggie continued, with an encouraging smile on her face. "Old Ben used to be much like you. He worked at our lumber mill too. One day he came here looking as glum as you are today." A soft chuckle escaped her lips before she continued. "I asked him what was wrong. Turned out that he'd had an argument with his son." Thomas's eyes had softened now. He leaned onto the counter, ready to hear more. "I told Ben something that day which I believe might help you too," Maggie said softly, fixing Thomas with her warm gaze. She took a deep breath before saying, "You see, Thomas, we all experience life differently. Each person's struggles might seem small to someone else, but it is significant for them." She gestured to the bar around them. "Just like each person here has their drink of choice. We all have our unique experiences and emotions. What might seem like a light ale to you could be a stout for someone else." Thomas looked at Maggie thoughtfully before asking, "So what should I do?" Maggie gently patted his hand as she spoke. "Try to understand their perspective, Thomas. Put yourself in their shoes. That's empathy. And it does not mean you have to agree with them, but it means you respect their feelings as much as your own." By the time she finished speaking, Thomas was gazing at her with newfound admiration. He thanked Maggie for her wisdom and promised to remember her words. From that day forward, there was a change in Thomas. He was more patient, more understanding towards his co-workers and family alike. And so it went on in the small town of Lumberland, where Maggie served not just her famed cherry pies and frothy stouts, but also heaping servings of empathy and wisdom that helped warm not just the hearts, but also brighten lives of many who frequented the Leaning Lantern.